విద్యా విధానంలో డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ ఓపెన్ యూనివర్సిటీ దేశంలోనే మొట్టమొదటి సార్వత్రిక విశ్వవిద్యాలయం. దాదాపు 2.5 దశాబ్దాలుగా దూర విద్యా విధానం ద్వారా కంప్యూటర్ కోర్సును అనుసంధానం చేస్తూ బీఏ, బీకాం, బీఎస్సీ డిగ్రీ కోర్సులను అందిస్తోంది. పోస్ట్ గ్రాడ్యుయేషన్ స్థాయి, డిగ్రీ, డిప్లొమా స్థాయి కోర్సులను ఔత్సాహికులైన విద్యార్థులకు అందిస్తోంది. డెవలప్మెంట్ స్టడీస్లో సెంటర్ ఫర్ ఎకనామిక్స్ అండ్ సోషల్ స్టడీస్ ద్వారా ఎంఫిల్, పీహెచ్డీతో పాటు విశ్వవిద్యాలయమే స్వయంగా దూర విద్యా విధాన అంశంపైన పీహెచ్డీ వంటి పరిశోధనా కోర్సులు ప్రవేశపెట్టింది. రాష్ట్ర వ్యాప్తంగా సుమారు 4.5 లక్షల మంది విద్యార్థులు ఈ విశ్వవిద్యాలయం నుంచి ఉన్నత విద్యావకాశాలు పొందుతున్నారు. డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ సార్వత్రిక విశ్వవిద్యాలయం స్థానికంగా స్వయం బోధనా పద్ధతిలో ముద్రణ రూపంలో రూపొందించిన కోర్స్ మెటీరియల్ అందిస్తోంది. కోర్స్ మెటీరియల్ అధ్యయనానికి సహకరించే విధంగా రేడియో, టెలివిజన్ పాఠ్యాంశాల ఆధారంగా కార్యక్రమాలు ప్రసారం చేస్తోంది. అధ్యయన కేంద్రాల ద్వారా ఏర్పాటు చేసే సలహా సంసర్గ తరగతులు, సైన్స్ ప్రాక్టికల్ సౌకర్యాలు విద్యార్థులకు స్వయం అధ్యయనానికి ఒక చక్కటి అవకాశం. ఇవి విద్యార్థి సమీపంలో ఉండే అధ్యయన కేంద్రం నుంచే పొందొచ్చు.
Good afternoon. We welcome all the students of BCom final year and MCom first year and PG diploma in business finance. For BCom final year students, they have a course business finance in their final year, and they have a separate chapter on working capital. Similarly, the MCom students also they have the separate chapter on working capital in business finance. Then similarly, the diploma in business finance students also they have a course, the financial management, and a separate chapter they have. So this program will be useful to all students of BCom final year students and MCom first year students and PG diploma in business finance. Now the today's program is on working capital financing, and this program will run for 1 hour, and the students can participate and should participate in the discussion, and the discussion will run for about the 40 minutes. After that, the students can ask their questions or get their doubts clarified, and the students can ask their questions on the telephone numbers 27031 27031 27031 And in today's topic, that is the working capital financing, we will broadly cover the meaning of working capital and the different concepts of working capital, determinants of working capital, the importance of working capital, and the sources of financing working capital and the estimation of the working capital. Now we have with us the subject experts. Let me introduce you the subject experts. Let me introduce first to my left the Professor K. Shankaraya. He is Senior Professor of Commerce in the Department of Commerce, Osmania University. He is former Chairman Board of Studies in the Department of Commerce, and he has been abroad to Bahrain and also Oman on teaching assignment, and he has around 28 years teaching experience. His area of research is accounting and finance. And next to him is Professor K. Om Prakash. He is a former head and the currently Dean Faculty of Commerce and Management in Kakatiya University, Warangal, and currently is convener ISET for 2012, and he has more than 30 years of teaching experience in commerce, and his area is the accounting and finance. Let me again initiate the discussion on this topic, that is working capital financing. This working capital financing is very interesting and important topic in the finance area. And Professor Shankaraya, let me ask you first, the finance is an integral part of the overall company management, and the for smooth organization or for smooth running of a business, the business will obtain funds and use optimally in its business to meet the day-to-day operations of the business. And this working capital is related to current assets and the current liabilities and the relationship between these two. And here the working capital is very important for a business organization. It is like the lifeblood of the business organization. Like for a human being, the lifeblood is essential to live a life. Even for running a business organization, the current assets or the maintenance of current assets is very essential and very important. And but what is the meaning of the current assets, and what are the different concepts of the current assets or the working capital that you can, and what are the components of the current assets and the current liabilities? Could you explain, please?
Yeah, Professor Chandraya, as you said rightly that the working capital is like a blood, and not only blood, it is like a nervous system of the human body. So without which the human body cannot function. The same way, any organization without working capital, it cannot use properly its fixed assets, and it cannot run its day-to-day activities also. As everyone knows that any organization requires funds right from acquisition of raw material and for engaging that human hours. Then for other expenses you need some capital, some amount to meet the day-to-day operations. And here the working capital is nothing but the amount available to run smoothly the organizational day-to-day operations or activities. And this working capital classification is made on the basis of two bases. One is concept basis, and second one is time basis. On the basis of concepts, we have again two. One is a balance sheet concept and second one is operating cycle concept. So balance sheet based concept is nothing but it is based on the current assets and current liabilities shown in the balance sheet, where you have two concepts again. One is gross working capital, second one is net working capital. The gross working capital is just the sum of the total current assets, and net working capital, when we deduct that current liabilities from the current assets, that gives us net working capital. The gross working capital, as I told you, that it is sum of the total assets, total current assets. Here, what do you mean by current assets? It is very important to know. So current assets means the assets which can be converted into cash within a year, or some people say that it is operational cycle period. But normally in an organization, they prefer to consider only accounting period. So these current assets are like accounts receivables, which includes bills receivables and debtors, then cash, bank, then short term investments, then short term public deposits, like that. And we have, though there is some little bit of controversy about that prepaid expenses and income not received, but they are also considered as current assets. Likewise, we have current liabilities, that is creditors, bills payables, bank overdraft, and short term loans, like that. In the same way, we have again two more items which are which attracted some controversy, like the accrued expenses, that is expenses not paid, and the income received in advance, and provision for tax, etc. But this total, if when we deduct that current liabilities from the current assets, then we get the net working capital, which gives the margin of safety to the creditors. The excess amount which is available, so which will be taken as a margin of safety. But basically both the concepts are very, very important, gross working capital and net working capital. The gross working capital, with which we know what are the current assets that are available in the company and how to increase that current assets in order to increase our working capital. And in the same way, the net working capital which is available also must be known to the management, that what extent they have some margin of safety. It is net working capital speaks about the liquidity position of the company. So it is purely qualitative, the ability of the company in meeting any dire consequences which are expected to arise in short period, that is 1 year period. So this is about the classification, that gross working capital and net working capital based on the balance sheet items, so balance sheet concept. Then we have that another one, time based. The time based are nothing but if we consider the longer period, that is permanent working capital, and if it is a shorter period, that is temporary or variable working capital. So fixed or permanent working capital is fixed up to a particular period, and which is decided on the basis of the bare minimum needs of the company to run its day-to-day operations. Whereas temporary or variable working capital, so it reflects the amount available to meet whenever there is some variation in the scale of operations, sales, etc. And here permanent working capital and temporary working capital or variable working capital, both are very much required. So this is the broad classification, Professor Chandraya Garu. Then this classification helps us, in fact, that to understand about the working capital carefully, in order to plan working capital or in order to have that smooth running of operations, basically we need to understand the concept. So I hope that with this information, so we can proceed further.
Yes, I think this is fine, and the students should note that he has explained what are current assets and what are current liabilities, and he has also explained that the current assets are the assets which can be converted into cash within an accounting year, and the current liabilities are those liabilities which will be matured for payment within an accounting year, and the excess of current assets over current liabilities will be the working capital, net working capital. So these concepts the students should remember. And here Professor Om Prakash Garu, so he has explained the all aspects relating to the current assets and the current liabilities, and there is the relationship exists between the current assets and the current liabilities. And but what is the importance of these current assets and the current liabilities, or the working capital that we can say, the maintenance of current assets? And also he has also explained the current assets. What are the current assets? Current assets like the cash is a more liquid asset, and the other marketable assets and the inventory, debtors, accounts receivables, etc. But since the cash is more liquid asset, that we can meet the expenses very quickly from paying from the cash. But how can meet the expenses if cash is not available? Because other current assets, that is the inventory and accounts receivable, how quickly that we can convert them into cash? So could you explain the importance of the working capital in the business organization, and the cash and the cash near to cash, the assets, how quickly that we can convert them into the cash?
Thank you, Professor Chandraya Garu. Before I answer your question, I would like to supplement what my colleague and friend Professor Shankaraya said.
Yeah.
While explaining the concepts of working capital, he said gross working capital concept and net working capital concept. And gross working capital, as he rightly said, it is a quantitative dimension of the working capital management. It speaks about the level of current assets that are being used in the business.
Yeah.
It gives quantitative dimension. Then while coming to the net working capital concept, he has rightly said it is the excess of current assets over current liabilities. But this concept can also be looked at from another angle. Net working capital signifies the amount of current assets which are financed out of long-term funds.
Okay.
The amount of current assets which are financed out of long-term funds. That definitely gives a lot of cushion to the current liability holders. So, net working capital concept gives qualitative dimension of the working capital management. Generally, there is a notion that every enterprise should have positive net working capital. In fact, that is not right. There are certain firms which even they go for the concept of zero working capital or even negative working capital. It means they are going to finance the most of the current assets out of current liabilities. They will not use permanent sources or long-term sources of funds in financing the working capital. You may ask a question in that context. If the entire current assets are financed out of short-term sources, what is the advantage of the firm or what is the disadvantage to the firm? And the advantage to the firm is it can have opportunity for making higher gains. That in fact is called aggressive way of looking at the working capital management. And generally firms which enjoy the customer confidence and which enjoy the suppliers confidence, they can manage the working capital with the on the basis of concept of zero working capital. Right. Coming to your questions, the question, the how the effort from cash.
Maybe shall I interrupt you? And you mentioned zero working capital and also positive net working
Concept
capital.
of zero working
Zero
capital.
And before you explain about the importance, what is zero working capital?
So it is simply, it is nothing but the current assets are exactly equal to current liabilities.
Yeah, that
It
students
means
they should note down that.
yes.
Net working capital
So,
is equivalent to
If
zero.
current assets excess over current liabilities, it
Yes,
is positive.
yes, yes.
If it is less than current liabilities, it is negative.
yes.
Then equal, then it is zero.
Zero.
Now, yeah, you please explain the importance of.
Right. Before explaining the importance of working capital management, you have raised a point. The current assets. Generally, current assets are classified into three broad categories. Liquid assets, absolutely liquid, like cash in hand and cash at bank. These are the absolutely liquid. They are already liquid form.
Yeah.
In the remaining current assets, you can classify them. Some current assets are very close to cash, near cash current assets.
Yeah.
So, such current assets are accounts receivables, bills receivables,
Debtors.
debtors. These come under near cash items.
Yeah.
But whereas the items like inventory, stocks of raw material, stocks of finished goods or stocks of work in progress, which become part of the inventory management, they do not come under the near cash items. And you know, sometimes the financial managers will look at only cash assets and near cash assets while managing the working capital. Right. Coming to the importance of working capital management. To understand the importance of working capital management, generally we should look at the overall objective or goal of a firm. The overall objective of any firm is wealth maximization. That is nothing but maximization of market value per share.
Okay.
Maximization of market value of the firm. Market value of the firm. The market value of a firm normally depends upon how effectively the manager will find a trade-off between risk and return. In other words, how effectively they will find a trade-off between liquidity and profitability. So, in other words, the value of the firm or the value of the share will get influenced by liquidity and profitability that is maintained by a business enterprise. The liquidity and profitability in turn will get influenced by working capital management. working capital management will have direct effect or direct impact on liquidity, and it will have indirect impact or influence on profitability. So, any financial manager who has to achieve his goal, he has to balance liquidity and profitability. This is in the larger context. Coming to very specifics, as we all know, current assets have very close and direct relationship with sales as well as profits as compared to the relationship between fixed assets and sales. So, normally, in order to maximize sales, we must first focus on current assets. That is one reason. Another reason is, in most of the business firms, substantial amount of its total investment will be in current assets. And unless these current assets are paid attention and managed effectively, naturally it will have an impact on the profitability. This is the second reason for its importance. And more so, the financial manager may have to devote most of his time in the management of current assets, because these current assets will have a direct influence on the day-to-day working of the business. And as far as the fixed assets management is concerned, that is not a regular and routine affair, whereas management of current assets and current liabilities is a regular affair and routine affair. So, therefore, working capital management assumes greater significance, and it requires greater attention of the financial manager of any business enterprise.
Yeah, it's fine. Then Professor Shankaraya garu, then Professor Om Prakash garu has explained about the importance of the working capital or the importance of management of current assets in a business organization. And also he has pointed out that the working capital or the maintenance of current assets, they have direct relation to the sales. And the very purpose of any business is to earn profit. And all business organizations, they try to increase their profits to maximize the shareholders' wealth. That is very important. But here, the increase of profit depends upon returns or profits. It depends upon the magnitude of sales. As the sales increase, profit also will be increased, and the sales decrease, the profit also will be decreased. But here there is a gap between the sales and the receipt of the cash. And if the sales, if they are the goods are sold on a credit basis, definitely the debtors will arise, and the cash received later after the selling goods on credit. So, this gap, the selling and the collection of the debts, that gap technically is termed as the operating cycle. Right? So, but the operating cycle for a manufacturing concern is different from a trading concern, and then again the other service organizations. And could you explain what exactly the operating cycle for different organizations, and how is it related to the working capital management?
Well, as I told you that the working capital definition is also based on operating cycle. Here, operating cycle exactly it is the time taken from cash to cash. As you know that the cash will be converted into raw material, and raw material will be converted into work in progress, then that will be again converted into finished goods, and the finished goods will be sold, some of them for cash, some of them may be on credit, and the creditors may take some time, then they pay cash, and that means the time taken for converting cash again into its own form, it is nothing but this operating cycle period. Then that is why we call that working capital as circulating capital also, circulating capital. And one of the main characteristic of a current asset is that swift transformation from one form to another form. This current asset, any current asset, it transforms into another form, like cash into raw material into work in progress, so on, it immediately changes its form. So, that is why it is also known as the circulating working capital. So, operating cycle will give you some idea about the number of days that you should withstand to run that day to day operations, because already you have used some cash that has transformed into raw material, then work in progress like that. Then during that period, if you do not have any cash, you cannot have smooth functioning of operations. So, this period you should have some cushion, that is, that gives you some what is the working capital requirement. Then as you rightly said that if it is a manufacturing concern, definitely the operating cycle period will be longer and you require more working capital. And if it is a trading company, you require a less operating cycle period, then definitely some of the stages that work in progress or raw material will be purchased. There in a trading concern, the finished goods will be purchased, sometimes semi finished goods may be purchased and they will be packed and again sold. So, the operating cycle period is very less and less working capital is required there. So, the operating cycle is very important in determining the working capital professor. So, that is why we should consider that operating cycle while estimating the working capital level.
Okay, fine. It is the determination of the working capital.
Yeah.
He has pointed out that one. But Professor Om Prakash, there are several factors which influence to determine the amount of working capital, and all factors which influence to determine the amount of the working capital can be categorized into internal factors and the external factors. Internal factors like the expansion of the business, size of the business, and the production policy or credit policy, and these any other the factors which influence just you point out, and how these internal factors and the external factors are also like the seasonality of the production and the market conditions, accessibility of the finance, etc. So, these factors will influence to determine the amount of working capital or size of the working capital, how much working capital should be used and how much working capital is required to use in the business or to finance the current assets or something. How they determine, what is the level of working capital? Could you explain them, the both internal factors as well as the external factors?
Right, Professor Chandraya Garu, you have raised a very valid question. In the management of working capital any business enterprise, the financial manager has to look at various factors and he should classify these factors into different categories based on his perception. As you said, they can be internal factors and external factors. They can be controllable factors and uncontrollable factors.
Okay.
Generally what happens, if there are controllable factors, the financial manager has to exercise control over those factors and see that it will add to the efficiency of the working capital management. And these controllable factors normally you have referred to as internal factors. Let us first identify what are the internal factors. As you rightly said, the firm's policies relating to production, policies relating to purchases, policy relating to credit sales, all these policies do have influence on the requirement of working capital. For example, if a firm has a liberal credit policy, so naturally the sales are likely to be very high, the outstanding sales, that is receivables, will be very high, and the average collection period is likely to be very high. So, definitely you may have to invest more amount of funds in receivables. Similarly, if the firm has got a production policy, if a firm has got a regular and constant production policy, that is producing a constant amount of production throughout the year, normally the working capital requirements will be at a constant level and throughout the year. But if the firm chooses to manufacture during certain seasons and keep the plant at shutdown at certain other seasons, normally when it produces in peak seasons, it may require more working capital. The levels of working capital will be very high. Right. Coming to the uncontrollable factors and external factors, as you rightly said, the market conditions. And market conditions are not totally in the hands of the manager, financial manager. For example, competition. If a firm has to manage the working capital in a competitive situation, when the competition is very stiff and very stringent, then naturally to win over the competitors, it may have to have a liberal credit policy. It may have to encourage its suppliers to supply more and by extending liberal terms to the suppliers. And as a consequence, it may require more working capital. Suppose if the firm is in a monopolistic situation, competition is very less, then naturally it can have tight credit policy, it can have only cash sales, and it can even demand the suppliers to supply the raw materials on longer credit periods. And sometimes even it may even demand the customers to pay in advance. And you know the example of Bajaj scooters sometime back, when Bajaj is monopoly in selling the scooters, to buy scooters the customers are asked to pay advance, and those advances have been used to finance their working capital. Now you see the situation. Now the situation is different. So that way market conditions will also influence the levels of working capital that we may have to maintain. Apart from these factors like seasonality of operations and factors like the operating efficiency. Sometimes that is an internal factor. If you can operate on efficient lines, you can reduce the manufacturing cycle. You can reduce the length of the manufacturing cycle. That is conversion of raw material into work in process and finished goods. If you can avoid and eliminate idle time in the manufacturing process, you can reduce the manufacturing cycle, and as a result you can bring down your operating cycle considerably, and that will result in lowering of the working capital requirements. And in fact, these factors, whether internal or external or controllable or uncontrollable, they are not watertight compartments, they are not mutually exclusive, they are interdependent. For instance, I said credit policy is internal factor, market conditions is external factor, but they are going to influence each other. If you have tough competition, you may have to have liberal credit policy. If the competition is less, you can have tight credit policy. So it means external factor in a way is influencing your internal factors. So definitely the levels of working capital that is to be maintained in an organization will get influenced by a number of factors which are mutually interdependent. And the financial manager has to be very careful in understanding the influence of these factors, and after having understood this influence, I think it may not be very much difficult for him to decide what is the levels of current assets he has to maintain.
You mean here the liberal policy you mentioned, it means the firm wants to increase the sales. And when the sales are increased, definitely the production also will be increased.
Yes.
So when the production increases, definitely they require more the working capital.
Yes.
So
you have to maintain more stocks of raw materials. You may have to keep more stocks of finished goods available in your store. That is there. But one thing one has to look at. Suppose if you have a liberal credit policy, that will definitely result in increased sales and automatically scope for increased profits. But simultaneously, it will also result in some increased costs. Increased sales or increased credit may lead to increased bad debts or increased average collection period, and therefore whether to have a liberal credit policy or not, always that depends upon how you compare the benefits flowing from it and the cost that we may have to incur it.
Okay, fine. Professor Shankare garu, in our earlier discussion, you mentioned that the concept of working capital based on the time that there is permanent working capital and the variable working capital or temporary working capital that you can say. So normally, what we say, what we do, the short-term funds will be used to finance the current assets or temporary working capital, and long-term funds will be used to finance the permanent working capital. That is one concept. But what are the sources of the financing permanent working capital, and what are the sources of financing the temporary or the circulating working capital? And the other important thing, can we use the long-term funds to finance the temporary working capital? Similarly, can we use the short-term funds to finance the permanent working capital? Could you explain that one?
Yeah, here I would like to recall the Professor Om Prakash, what he told earlier. In order to, our intention is to minimize the cost of capital and minimize the risk, at the same time maximize the profit. So for that, sometimes, on the basis of your attitude towards the risk, you may have to choose what is the composition of the working capital. So that composition helps us how to raise that working capital, so that determines the sources. Basically, just to supplement what he told, that the factors which will determine the working capital, because there is one point which is closely related to the sources, that is internal policies, the profit appropriations. If the profit suppose the profit is distributed as dividend, then sufficient funds may not be available with the company, then it may have to raise more working capital. It has to think about another source. That what I mean to say, the profit appropriations also can be taken as a source of financing working capital. If we suppose retain more profit, that is retained earnings, and if we provide more depreciation, and this amount, just book adjustments, the amount is available with the company and that can be used for working capital purpose. Then as you rightly pointed out that we have to, it is a simple concept that short term sources are to be used to finance short term working capital or variable working capital, temporary working capital, and long term sources are to be used for permanent working capital. There is no watertight compartment on the basis of the attitude of the person and availability of the particular source and various other factors. We may have to, sometimes we may use permanent source for variable working capital and short term source for permanent working capital. But before that, what are the sources that are available for permanent capital and what are the sources that are available for short term working capital or variable working capital? This need to be understood. Then the first source is share capital for permanent working capital, the equity. So as you know that the equity is involved, less risk. The management has no burden to pay any dividend to the shareholders if the profits are not available. But in the case of debt, debentures or some other long term debt, you need to pay interest, that fixed commitment is there. So though the risk is less and it is a longer period, the first source is share capital only for long term financing of this working capital. Then just now I pointed out that retained earnings, if the company has very good opportunities for future, or if they require some more funds for this running period or current period, then they may make use of this retained earnings. That is another source. Then we have, as I told you, depreciation and what are the provisions, certain provisions which are available with the company, they can be used for working capital also, then we can invite some deposits from public. Of course, there was some restriction on public deposits. The non-banking companies are not allowed to raise 100% finance for working capital, but still the public deposits was very popular when the cotton industry was dominating in Indian economy. In Ahmedabad or Mumbai, they used more these public deposits, but thereafter it is little bit discouraged. Public deposits are discouraged for using or having this working capital. Then we have another source.
Why, shall I interrupt you? Why these public deposits are discouraged? Is it because of unsecured loan or unsecured amount in the
public deposits will be in huge amounts, and it should be for a longer period, and people may not be interested to invest their money, and there is no guarantee at all.
Yeah, that is the unsecurity. That is the main.
You are right. That security may not be provided
Yes.
sufficiently for the working capital.
And if the company incurs losses,
Yes.
the people will be the losers. They lose their money.
And
That is the
so that may be the reason, one of the reasons, and moreover the people want some more security against its companies' fixed assets like that. So that is one source, and of course you have loans also, long-term loans, and basically the loans from financial institutions like Industrial Financial Corporation or Industrial Development Corporation, state financial corporations, etc. So these are the basic sources of financing working capital of permanent nature. Then we have short-term sources also for short-term working capital, like very simple thing, banks are nowadays at our doorsteps. So whenever you want money, the market situation is so dynamic that if you want money, you can raise, just phone call is enough. The banks are lending like that, like they give cash credit, they give loans, they give overdraft, they discount the bills, etc. So banks are playing very vital role in financing the working capital. Then we have that indigenous bankers also, though the interest rates are very high, the people, but now slowly the role of indigenous bankers are reduced because of the dominant play of the commercial banks. Then we have trade credits, etc. Then installment payment, when we purchase some raw material, we can pay in installments, so we can delay the payment. That itself is a source for a short term or variable working capital. Then the last thing is advances from the customers. The Professor Om Prakash mentioned rightly that these were our younger days, that the Bajaj Chetak. Recently that Nano, Tata Nano, also they have taken some deposits, and that works as wonderfully for providing the short term working capital. So broadly these are available, but we can make use of permanent capital for short term obligations or short term sources for permanent obligations also.
Yes, Professor Om Prakash, having discussed the various sources of financing permanent working capital and the variable working capital, but any criteria is there for selecting this source of financing permanent working capital or variable working capital, or any alternatives? Are there any alternatives before the manager in managing the current assets or working capital? Could you explain that one?
You see, Professor, in selecting a right source of financing the current assets, I look at the sources of financing available to the financial manager into three broad categories. The first category being spontaneous or voluntary sources of financing. Spontaneous or voluntary sources of financing, as we have already discussed, they constitute advances from customers, then credit facilities by the suppliers. Suppose if a firm is in commanding situation in terms of sales and the market, it can ask its customers some money in the form of advance. Similarly, it can ask its suppliers to supply the materials on longer credit period. And as a result, this money can be used by the firm in financing the current assets without any cost, without any risk problem. So therefore, as financial manager, in the very first instance, you should exhaust the spontaneous voluntary sources completely in financing the current assets.
Okay.
But the problem is these sources are not available in large amount. First you should exhaust. Then the remaining requirement of the current assets, then they have to be financed either from long term sources or short term sources. Whether it is your current assets constitute permanent current assets or variable current assets. Leaving that apart, we have to find a mix of these two. In finding a mix of these two, normally three factors will have to be taken into consideration. Number one, cost of financing. Number two, risk involved in a particular source of financing. Number three, the availability. And sometimes the renewability problem. These are the four factors that have to be taken into consideration in deciding whether one should go for long term finances or short term finances. But as many of us know, long term finances are costlier, but in terms of risk, they are less risky. Whereas short term sources are considered to be riskier ones, but the less costlier. But sometimes even short term sources may have high cost in a country like India. Sometimes in India, short term sources are more costlier than the long term sources sometimes. But taking these factors into consideration, the financial manager has to choose the sources of financing. While choosing, he can keep it in mind what is the risk attitude of the management. Whether the management is willing to take higher risks in order to have higher returns, definitely it can go for those sources which promise higher returns in terms of low cost. Suppose if the attitude of the management, if the management is not willing to take a risk and it is willing to compromise with low return, definitely it may go for financing of current assets by using long term sources, which is risky ones. So it is ultimately the risk attitude of the management will guide the manager in selecting the right source of financing in financing the current assets. But as far as spontaneous sources is concerned, there is no controversy. They have to be exhausted fully first. Only you have a choice between short term sources and long term sources depending upon the risk attitude of the management.
Yeah, Professor Shankaraya garu, earlier we have discussed the operating cycle for different institutions and different organizations. And the operating cycle starts with the purchase of raw material and conversion of raw material into work in process and conversion of the work in process into production of goods. Then after producing goods, then that will be sold in the market, then that will be converted into the cash and all that. But if the operating cycle is longer, I think that firm is need more working capital, and then lesser the operating cycle, the working capital will be less. But how do you estimate the working capital requirements? What are the precautions that the financial manager has to take, and what information that he does need to estimate the working capital? Could you explain that one?
Yeah, well, it is very important for any organization to first decide the level of or estimate the working capital. Then only he can go for the cheaper source for financing working capital. Yeah, we have there are so many techniques that are available, which are in practice also. The prominent are here. One is percentage of sales. So percentage of sales is this criteria is more useful when you have past history or past data is showing the direct relationship or the stable relationship between the sales and working capital, then without any hesitation you can go for this percentage of sales. It is some percentage of sales may be taken as a working capital level. But basically, and in some industries where the sales component, that the sales promotion expenses and day-to-day requirements are more, that is decided by the nature of the business itself. So there you may go for the percentage of sales method. The other method is available to us is percentage of fixed assets also, or total assets, I can say. So if you have the total assets and what is the percentage that should be the working capital, there are simple techniques where that fixed assets plays a vital role. And in the balance sheet also, if you look at that, the fixed assets composition is very high, and the nature of the business also requires more fixed assets, and for that fixed assets you require working capital to make use of these fixed assets properly. Then it is justified to take that percentage of fixed assets method. We have another method also, regression analysis. It is a statistical methods, as you know, that again it is based on the historical data, time series. On the base of the past behavior, you are predicting about the future, A plus Bx. So that is the formula which we can use and apply for the estimating the working capital for future. Then we have another method, that is cash budgets may be used for forecasting the working capital also, because the cash budget will help us to give the cash requirements and cash disbursement. So there you can find out what are the needs of working capital, and that also helps us to estimate the working capital. Another very important, as you pointed out, that the operating cycle. So the period of operating cycle is very, very important. The raw material conversion period, then work in progress conversion period, then finished goods conversion period, then receivables receivables conversion period. So this gives you a gross operating cycle period, and if we deduct that payables deferral period, we can get the net operating cycle period. So with the help of this operating cycle period, by multiplying it the cost of goods sold, and if we add that cost, cash requirements, etc., we can estimate easily that working capital required. Then the last one is that budgeted balance sheet. There also, this also helps us to know what are the estimated working capital, so that we can easily calculate how much level of the working capital is required. But as Om Prakash rightly said, that the working capital requirements based on several factors, the simple formula or a single method may not be used here, Professor.
Yeah. Professor Om Prakash, here there was a saying that the profit is reward for taken risk.
Yes.
So based on this, some companies different companies will follow different policies.
Yes.
To increase their profits. Some companies follow aggressive policy. You have mentioned earlier that aggressive policy, and also some companies may follow the conservative policy, and any policy in between these two, some companies may follow. But what are the financial strategies for this maintenance of working capital? How the financial manager formulate a financial strategy in maintaining the current assets or working capital? Could you explain that one?
So this is the vital point in the entire working capital management. Once again, we have to go back to the goal of the firm the goal of any firm is to maximize the value, and the value of any firm, as I already said, depends upon the risk and return.
Yeah.
So the risk and return, the risk attitude of the management and the return expected by the management. And keeping this risk attitude of the management, it may choose any of the working capital strategies, ranging from conservative to moderate to aggressive.
Yeah.
But formulating a working capital strategy basically involves decision on the financing policy and the decision on current asset policy. and a combination of these policies may ultimately get into the working capital strategy. Now, a conservative financing policy with conservative current asset policy will result in conservative working capital strategy. And conservative working capital strategy results in minimum risk, and naturally the management has to satisfy with the minimum return.
Minimum profits.
Minimum return. And management, if it is willing to take risk, it can go for aggressive financing policy with aggressive current asset policy. So naturally the risk is likely to be very high, but the scope for making higher returns will also be very high.
But
Suppose
in aggressive policy, the working capital will be less.
The amount of investment in current assets will be very less,
Less.
and the even within that current assets, the financing of short term funds will be more.
Yeah. Okay.
So that results in higher risk, but the scope for making higher returns will also be there. So ultimately it is for the management to decide whether it is willing to take high risk in an attempt to make higher returns. But most of the companies do not fall in these two extremes, conservative or aggressive. They may like to have a in between, that is moderate working capital strategy, conservative financing and aggressive current asset, or aggressive financing and conservative current asset policy. So that way it may choose. And one more thing one has to keep in mind is the policy that you adopt for this year need not be followed next year. Ultimately, what type of working capital strategy you are going to choose, that will have to be according to the conditions of the business. If the business conditions are favorable to your firm, definitely you can go for aggressive working capital strategy. If conditions are not so favorable or unfavorable, then you can go for conservative. In normal conditions, you can go for moderate working capital strategy. That is either conservative financing and aggressive current asset, or aggressive financing or conservative current asset policy.
Yeah. Professor Shankaraya.
Yeah.
Bank credit is a very important source of the working capital finance. Right? And as you mentioned earlier, the banks will provide the overdraft and cash credit, and also the short-term bill discounting, etc.
Yeah.
What is the role of banks in lending the working capital, and also are they
So the policy 74 RBI guidelines, there was liberally that working capital financing was provided, and RBI guidelines in 1973. So it's a little bit were restricted. After that, they have to review that, but the industrial progress was at stake. Then they appointed one committee, the Tandon committee, and they have given some mathematical calculations also, in fact, and they have laid down a certain procedure, mechanics also, how much the working capital should be given by the banks. So without thinking of a banking role, we cannot proceed further. Subsequently, there were so many committees were formulated to review that. Now, okay, the bank role and banking role in the
time
working
is
capital
up.
management.
Yeah. So we discussed various aspects relating to the working capital, and there is an indication that time is up.
Yeah,
and so thank you very much, Professor Om Prakash and Professor Shankaraya,
Thank you, Professor
for
Chandrasekhar.
coming
Thank
here,
you so much.
participating in this program.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.